Orthodox Tewahedo is the common and historical name of two Oriental Orthodox Christian churches, which are dominant in Eritrea and Ethiopia. Until 1959, the Orthodox Tewahedo were administratively part of the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria. That year, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church was granted autocephaly and its own patriarch by Coptic Orthodox Pope Cyril VI. Following the independence of Eritrea from Ethiopia in 1993, the Eritrean Orthodox Tewahedo Church was granted autocephaly by Coptic Pope Shenouda III, and it officially separated from the Ethiopian Church. Name: Tewahedo is a Ge'ez word meaning, being made one, or unified. This word refers to the Oriental Orthodox belief in the one single unified nature of Christ, i.e., a belief that a complete, natural union of the divine and human natures into one is self-evident in order to accomplish the divine salvation of humankind, as opposed to the two natures of Christ belief which is held by the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches. According to the Catholic Encyclopedia article on the Henoticon, around 500 bishops within the Patriarchates of Alexandria, Antioch and Jerusalem refused to accept the two natures doctrine decreed by the Council of Chalcedon in 451, thus separating themselves from the main body of the Christian Church at the time, which would later itself split in two factions in the East-West Schism of 1054. Although this later event was not about Christological views, the Oriental Orthodox churches, which today include the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, the Armenian Apostolic Church, the Syriac Orthodox Church, the Malankara Orthodox Church of India, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, and the Eritrean Orthodox Tewahedo Church, are referred to as non-Chalcedonian, and, sometimes by outsiders as, monophysite. However, these churches themselves describe their Christology as Miaphysite. Origins: the Orthodox Tewahedo churches claim their origins from the royal official said to have been baptized by Philip the Evangelist, one of the 7 deacons. Then the angel of the Lord said to Philip, "Start out and go south to the road that leads down from Jerusalem to Gaza." So he set out and was on his way when he caught sight of an Ethiopian. This man was a eunuch, a high official of the Candace, queen of Ethiopia, in charge of all her treasure. The passage continues by describing how Philip helped the Ethiopian treasurer understand a passage from Isaiah that the Ethiopian was reading. After the Ethiopian received an explanation of the passage, he requested that Philip baptize him, and Philip did so. The Ethiopic version of this verse reads, Hendeke, Queen Gursamot Hendeke VII was the Queen of Ethiopia from California. 42-52. Orthodox Christianity became the established church of the Aksumite kingdom under King Ezana in the 4th century through the efforts of a Syrian Greek, named Frumentius, known to the church's followers as Abba Salam of Kesate Buran. As a youth, Frumentius had been shipwrecked with his brother Aedesius on the Eritrean coast. The brothers managed to be brought to the royal court, where they rose to positions of influence and converted Emperor Ezana to Christianity, causing him to be baptized. Ezana sent Frumentius to Alexandria to ask the Patriarch, Saint Athanasius, to appoint a bishop for Ethiopia. Athanasius appointed Frumentius himself, who returned to Ethiopia as bishop with the name of Abun Salama. From then on, until 1959, the Pope of Alexandria, as Patriarch of all Africa, always named an Egyptian to be Abuna or Archbishop of the Ethiopian Church. Middle Ages union with the Coptic Orthodox Church continued after the Arab conquest of Egypt. Abba Sala records in the 12th century that the Patriarch always sent letters twice a year to the kings of Abyssinia and Nubia, until al-Hakim stopped the practice. These examples show the close relations of the two churches concurrent with the Middle Ages. In 1439, in the reign of Zara Yacob, A religious discussion between Abba Georges and a French visitor had led to the dispatch of an embassy from Ethiopia to the Vatican. Jesuit interim. The period of Jesuit influence, which broke the connection with Egypt, began a new chapter in church history. The initiative in the Roman Catholic missions to Ethiopia was taken, not by Rome, but by Portugal, as an incident in the struggle with the Muslim Ottoman Empire and Sultanate of Adal for the command of the trade route to India by the Red Sea. In 1507 Matthew, or Matthias, an Armenian, had been sent as an Ethiopian envoy to Portugal to ask for aid against the Adal Sultanate. In 1520 an embassy under Dom Rodrigo de Lima landed in Ethiopia. An interesting account of the Portuguese mission, which lasted for several years, was written by Francisco Alvarez, the chaplain. Later, Ignatius Loyola wished to take up the task of conversion, but was forbidden. Instead, the Pope sent out João Nunes Barreto as Patriarch of the East Indies, with André de Oviedo as bishop, and from Goa envoys went to Ethiopia, followed by Oviedo himself, to secure the king's adherence to Rome. After repeated failures, some measure of success was achieved under Emperor Suetonius I. But not until 1624 did the emperor make formal submission to the pope. Suetonius made Roman Catholicism the official state religion, but was met with heavy resistance by his subjects and the authorities of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and eventually had to abdicate in 1632 to his son, Fasilides, who promptly restored the state religion to Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity. He then expelled the Jesuits in 1633, and in 1665, Fasilides ordered that all Jesuit books be burned. Colonial years. In the 1920s, the Italian colonial power in Eritrea started the first attempts to found a separate Eritrean Orthodox Church. Until then, the Orthodox Church in Eritrea was practically part of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, with a strong link to Aksum in Tigray as the traditional center of the church structure. This was, however, against the interest of the colonizer. Eritrea as a separate colony was supposed to have a church independent from the neighbors' influence. In order to be fully integrated into the colonial system, the separate Eritrean church was short-lived. When it was still not fully established, the Italians invaded Ethiopia in 1935, and then formed a unified territory called Africa Oriental Italiana, encompassing Eritrea, Ethiopia and Italian Somalia. Eritrea was unified with the northern Ethiopian province of Tigray, and both Orthodox churches unified. This unification remained valid even after the defeat of the Italians and their loss of the whole territory in 1941. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church was granted autocephaly by Pope Joseph II of Alexandria, head of the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria in 1950. At that time Eritrea was a separate colonial territory under British administration, but nevertheless the Orthodox Church in Eritrea was simply made a division of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, as the British had no interest to strongly separate the Eritrean highlands from the Ethiopian highlands, corresponding to their politics of unification of the highlands. Distinctive traits common to both. Biblical canon. The Tewahedo Church canon contains 81 books. This canon contains the books accepted by other Orthodox Christians. The narrower canon contains Enoch Jubilees, and I2-3 Maccabean. The canonical Enoch differs from the editions of the GEZ manuscripts in the British Museum and elsewhere used by foreign scholars, for example in treatment of the Nephilim of Genesis chapter 6. The current 81-book version was published in 1986, containing the same text as previously published in the Haile Selassie version of the Bible, only with some minor modifications to the New Testament translation. Some sources speak of the broader canon, which has never been published as a single compilation but is said to include all of the narrower canon, as well as additional New Testament books said to have been used by the early Church. 2 Books of the Covenant, 4 Books of Synodos, an Epistle of Peter to Clement, also known as Ethiopic Clement, and the Ethiopic Didascalia. These may not all bear close resemblance to works with similar titles known in the West. An 8-part, Ethiopic version of the history of the Jewish people written by Joseph Ben-Gurion, known as the Pseudo-Josephus, is considered part of the broader canon, though it would be considered an Old Testament work. Autocephaly after independence of Eritrea. Following the independence of Eritrea from Ethiopia in 1993, the newly independent Eritrean government appealed to Pope Shenouda III of the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria for Eritrean Orthodox autocephaly. Tensions were high between the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church and the Eritrean Orthodox Tewahedo Church, and no representative from the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church attended the official recognition of the newly autocephalous body. However, the Ethiopian Church has recognized the autocephalous status of the Church of Eritrea, although it objected to the method in which the Coptic Church went about granting it. Eritrea's first 2 patriarchs were originally archbishops of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, and the first patriarch, Abune Philippos, did visit Addis Ababa during joint efforts by the 2 churches to explore a possible resolution to a border conflict that had broken out between the 2 countries in 1998. The 2 churches remain in full communion with each other and with the other churches of Oriental Orthodoxy, although the Ethiopian Church, along with the Coptic Orthodox Church, have not recognized the deposition of the 3rd Patriarch of Eritrea, and the enthronement of the 4th Patriarch, Abune Dioscoros. The first Patriarch of Eritrea was Abune Philippos, who died in 2004 and was succeeded by Abune Jacob. The reign of Abune Jacob as Patriarch of Eritrea was very brief, as he died not long after his enthronement, and he was succeeded by Abune Antonios as 3rd Patriarch of Eritrea. Abune Antonios was elected on 5 March 2004, and enthroned as the 3rd Patriarch of Orthodox Tewahedo Church of Eritrea on 24 April 2004. Pope Shenouda III presided at the ceremony in Asmara, together with the Holy Synod of the Eritrean Orthodox Church and a Coptic Orthodox Church delegation.